So we're going to give you an award for long travel. How's that? All right, what we're going to go into now is color sanding and buffing. All right, color sanding and buffing is a process by which we sand our paint to smooth it. We get our maximum smoothing. It cleans it, it smooths it, and then we polish it to bring out a lustrous shine. Now, it's a process of scratching, and more scratching. But it's shallower. Color sanding is a process by which we put a scratch in the paint, then we put a finer scratch in the paint to get rid of that deeper one, then a finer one to get rid of that one. All right? So I got a little simple thing here I'll show you of how that works. All right, picture this is your paint job. Okay, here's the surface of your car. Now your paint is put on top, and here's your primer. That's a nice flat layer. Wow, there's a lot of wavy hand there, guys. Don't mind that. This is your typical wavy car. All right, so there's your primer. Now your paint goes on top, and when it's brand new, you got that nice straight paint. Okay, but as time goes by, that doesn't stay that way. So what we wind up with is your paint looks like this. All right? And it's, it's just all over the place. Now, you don't necessarily see that. You'll notice that the shine is diminished. What makes a paint job dull is when your paint gets coarse. You can hear it. Hear that? That's all these little peaks and valleys in your paint. Now what we need to do is you need to wash it. I need to ask you where you came from today. Too close, sorry. We gave out a long distance award. A wonderful community, Oaklawn, but... Okay, our gentleman from Rockford, you're the clear winner then. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to come in, wash it, that'll take the dirt off. You can even clay bar it if you want. Clay barring normally just pulls impurities out. If you got impurities, it'll pull them out. It'll add a little bit of shine to the paint job because there is some porosity to clay. It's very fine. It's one of the finest grits you can get. So it might take the little tip off. So clay might do this. Might just take those little tips off, okay? Not much at all. Clay's not designed as a polish. It's designed as a cleaner. All right, but we still have the peaks and valleys. But it pulled all the little dirt balls out. You get into clay, you roll it over. So clay is a nice product, and it works real well. We've got another product out that's even better than clay. It's called the mitt. All right. Now the mitt is a $49 product. You put your hand in it. It's got a square, and you pre-wet the 2x2 area, and you work that area with the mitt. One direction, up and down, back and forth. It lasts 10 times longer than a piece of clay. Clay is 24 bucks on average for a kit, and you can do the car twice. So you can see the amount of savings. Now when you're working with clay, you got to roll it. Wipe the clay, do your 2x2, roll it, wipe a 2x2, roll it. And if you drop it on the ground, what happens? We invent all kinds of new words. No good, present, because now you just chucked a piece of clay. And if you take that piece of clay from the ground back to the car, you might as well just sand it down to bare metal and start over again. Because dirt is about 80 grit. You're just going to start grinding. So the mitt is a real nice thing. It's not going to fall out of your hand. It is on your hand. Your whole hand has to fall out. So Riox makes a wonderful product. The mitt, we call it the clay mitt. I suggest you all take a look at that, maybe even before you go today. Hopefully I've got some hanging there, I'm not sure, but the mitt is an excellent product. And it's going to replace clay. It really is. So, all right, enough on the clay barring. That cleans the paint. That's all we're doing, cleaning it. Now we're going to start sanding. Okay, and our progression for sanding on the average vehicle is 800, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, and depending on what you're doing, you can go 3,000, 3,500. All right? Now when you get past this mark here, you're actually starting to polish the paint with your paper. Your paper is so fine, you're going to start seeing reflection in the paint again. You're going to start seeing the lights reflecting and things like that. It will no longer be totally dull. You'll actually start polishing it. I've worked with people that'll go all the way up to 5,000 before they ever touch it with a buffer. Okay? Those are guys who never use a wool pad. We'll discuss pads in a second. Okay? But this is your standard paper progression. Okay? We're going to go today probably up to 2,500. I'll do it real quick up to 2,500. Now, what we're going to do there is we're going to go with that, that 800. We're going to take some of these peaks off. But now we have 800 grit scratches. So now we're going to use 1,000 grit. And that's going to take that down just a little bit more. We're going to take those 800 grit scratches out. We're going to leave 1,000 grit scratches. Then we're going to go to 1,500 and smooth that out just a little bit more. Take some of that away. All the way up to 2,500. When we get to 2,500, what we're going to have is we're going to have this. Wavy but shiny. Now how do we smooth this out and make that a straight line? We do that with the polisher. All right. Once we got that 2,500 scratch in there, we're going to take the polisher. We're going to use a compound. We're going to take that down well past the 5,000. But we're going to use the polisher. We're going to take and level out the top of that paint to make it as glass smooth as we can. And then when paint reflects is when it looks the best. When you can take and hold a newspaper headline above your car and read it in your hood, you got a well-buffed car. Okay. I work with lights, you'll work with lights. Okay. When you're buffing or polishing, the lights are your guide. These are great lights up here, these little fine tubes. I've had cars in here that I've polished for demonstrations, and the whole time, the class normally doesn't know it, but I'm watching those tubes from the reflection. When I'm polishing, I'm looking. And when I got those tubes look like this, squiggly, I'm not done. But when they look exactly, when I look up and look down and they look 95%, and then I got that finished nice and flat. Yes, sir.
What about the clear coat on the cars? What about if you got clear coat on the paint?
Congratulations, because it's a lot easier to work with. All right, clear coat is a godsend. All right, base coat, clear coat is a much easier paint job to work with. It's easier to apply, it's easier to sand, and it's easier to buff. All right, single stage paints. Let's go back. A lot of us are graybeards here. Okay, we've been around for a while. Okay, we started out shooting the Centauri lacquer years ago. I almost forgot lacquers, but so long. But we started painting lacquer. How do we do that? Now we put our primer on, we sanded, we put our primer on, we sanded, we put a layer of color, we sanded, a layer of color, we sanded, we put clear and sanded and clear and sanded and clear and sanded, everything was sanded in between, you had to. Then we came up with enamels. Centauri, real popular one, maybe most you remember using DuPont paints, all right? There's Centauris and PPGs, they all had their own brand names, but Centauri was one of the easiest to shoot, one of the nicest. Single stage paint. You buy red, you spray it, it's red. You sand it, it comes off red. You polish it, it buffs up red. Right? Then we developed base coat clear. Base coat clear is such an easy paint job, everybody's afraid of it. I never understood it because it's so easy. You shoot base coat on, it's dull. Right? It's hard to screw up dull. You lay it on nice, and it's just a nice dull finish. Your clear makes a base coat clear job. Now you shoot 3, maybe 4 coats of clear on top. Right? So when you're ready to buff, you're cutting and buffing the clear only. And it's kind of nice because it's got an indicator. If you, let's say you paint your car red, you throw 4 coats of clear on, right? And your color sanding, what color is going to come off?
Clear.
Kind of a milky, clear, maybe a little bit of whitish in there. And when you get red, what does that tell you? Oh, you just went through all your clear. So, but when you're doing single stage, if you got a red car, you're sanding, you're getting red coming off. Okay? Now this here, looking at them, you can't always tell. Base coat, clear coat, I'll let you know as soon as I hit this with some sandpaper what it is. If it runs black, it's single stage. If it runs clear, it's base coat, clear coat. Now you gotta say to yourself, is it factory clear coat or did somebody else paint it? Because if it's factory clear coat, it's pretty thin, the mills are pretty thin, so you gotta be careful with it. If it's an aftermarket, and, you know, if you painted your car and you put 4, maybe 5 coats of a good clear, European clear, show clear, whatever, then we've got a lot to work with. We can knock down orange peel and all that. You know, if you've got orange peel on a factory paint job, and it is a base clear, you have to be careful, because you don't know exactly how much clear is on it. And if you go aggressively after that orange peel, and it's gone, you may see color. If your car is orange, and it's got clear, and you sand it, and you're going after that orange peel, and you're almost there, sometimes it's better to stop and just buff it. You know, you might have just a little bit, and you can see it because when you sand, it'll be flat, but wherever the orange peel is, it'll be little shiny, glossy spots, right? Use your better judgment. As long as you're still getting clear, you're okay. You know, clear water or milky color water, you're okay. The second you hit color, you went through it. It'll never buff right, and you'll notice it. When you go through your clear, you'll notice it. And that gives the clear an edge to fail on, you know. So you gotta really be careful with that, so. All right, so we got this old fender here from the body shop next door. It's just an old junker fender, and we're gonna see. It's got some deep scratches. There's nothing you can do with that. We're not even gonna mess with it. I'm just gonna do some sanding, show you some technique and polishing. All right, so what I've got here, let's, I told you about the paper progressions, right? You guys can pass these around. What I just want you to do is feel the different grit. This is 400 grit. We very rarely ever use that before we buff. That's used if we're cutting down brand new paint possibly, but I mean, I would use 400 to prep for painting. It's only here to show you the grit. I started 800 when I'm prepping paint for polishing. Some people start at 600. It depends on what the paint looks like. If you've got, let's say, 3 to 4 good heavy coats of clear, and you got some orange peel, you might start at 600, speed the process up. It's something you've got to learn as you go along. Can I use 600? The lower the number, the more aggressive the paper. This goes all the way up to, I got to some 1500 good on the front. Go ahead and pass it around. You guys can all just feel the different papers. You'll see the progression from the coarse to the fine. Okay? What I've got here is I've got all the way to 2500 grit here. For the sake of speeding it along, I'm going to start at 1000 grit. I'm going to leave the 800 out. I'm going to start at 1000 because this fender isn't all that bad. Okay? But what I need to do first is I need to clean my fender off a little bit. So I'm going to spray it down here and just do a quick wipe on it because it was sitting outside and get some of the dirt off. This could definitely use to, let's say, be clay barred if you were going to wax it. I'm not going to wax it. I'm going to sand it, so I don't really care that much because any dirt in here, I'm going to sand it right out.
Where are you spraying it?
This is a detail spray. It's just a detailer. It's a Griot's product. I use it for like everything. I use it to lubricate my buffing pads. And, you know, I'll clean that up actually pretty good. Wasn't too bad underneath. It's
water-based wax?
I mean, I said Griot's. This is Norton's. This is part of the Norton ice system. What's that?
Is it like a water-based wax?
This?
Yeah.
I don't know about water-based. It's a liquid cleanup detail spray. Blah, 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 blah. I don't see water-based on there. I see the word aqueous. That's got to be Spanish for water, right? Agua?
Or Latin?
Yeah. But what we use, what I'm going to be talking about today, is the Norton ice system. All right. This is Norton's liquid ice. This is their detail spray. This is their compound. All right. This is their buffing pad system. This is a wool pad. Wool pad is number 1. Okay. This is a self-centering system designed by Norton to fit a special backing pad. This is the pad right here. I can take this down. Inside this Velcro or hook and loop is a hole. On the back of all the Norton pads has this plastic bump. What that does is it allows you to perfectly align the pad. This is now a polisher, not a random orbit sander. If you put the pad on, I mean, this rolls true and straight. If you take and put a pad on wrong, you know, I can't really do it to you there, but see that? It's gonna make circles and swirls all over. You wanna make sure when you're polishing with a machine that the pad is perfectly straight. The Norton system takes the guessing away. We used to put them on there and eyeball them the best we could. You'd put them on and you'd hit it. And if the machine started going, you know, it's way off, you know. But you wanted to get it as close as you could because you don't want those little micro swirls all over the place, okay? When you're working with compound, that's almost impossible to get rid of that stuff. It looks hazy, you can buff it for hours and never get rid of it. So with this Norton system, with the automatic self-centering, you get a perfectly centered pad every time. Pad number 1, pad number 2, pad number 3. That takes the guesswork out of it. You know that this is your coarsest pad, this is your medium pad, this is your fine pad. When you're buffing, that's your progression. Wool. Let's talk about a wool pad. Wool pads are abrasive pads. Wool is a natural abrasive. Without any compound, I can hit paint and move paint. By moving paint, I mean I can alter the surface. Wool is a natural abrasive. If you add a compound, it magnifies the intensity of the compound when you use wool. Wool is something you use to cut down a new paint job predominantly, okay? You don't really need it on here. I will use it on here today just to show you the wool spin. But you don't need it if you're doing a paint job that looks this shiny. You don't need it. But this is if you got a lot of orange peel. You can take orange, you can knock orange peel down, which we normally knock most of it down with sandpaper, and we finish it. But if you're using wool, be careful because you just removed finish, and this is going to start removing some finish. Okay? The number 2 pad is the medium pad. This one here is used for most polishing when I'm trying to take scratches off. Okay? So when I sand this down to 2500 grit, I would go right to the number 2 pad. I would buff it up to a high luster, and then I would go and finish with the number 3 pad to remove any potential swirl marks or any imperfections that would be in there. This is a real fine one. You can feel the difference in the 2 pads. All right. I have diabetes. My side effect of my diabetes is dry mouth syndrome, so I apologize. So that's what you would use. Now with the Norton Ice system, what we have here is 1 compound and 3 pads. Anybody familiar with the 3M polishing systems? Now 3M will have 3 to 4 compounds for different polishes. And you're going to need 3 or 4 different pads. So when you're using a 3M type system, which are very good systems, I'm not saying they're not. They work well, they're admirable, and they polish like crazy. But they create a workload for you that is wash the car, pad number 1, polish it out. Get rid of pad number 1, get rid of that compound, wash the car. Get pad number 2, compound number 2. Buff the car, get rid of the pad, get rid of the compound, wash the car. Get number 3, same process. But each time you're washing the car, so you're going to wash the car, if you're using 3 compounds, 3M, you're going to wash the car 4 times. At least 4 times. Okay? And that's because at any point, let's say I get the compound number 3, microfine polish. I'm working this high luster. I just touch a piece of chrome and I pull in some of the number 1 compound that dried up there. What am I going to do? I'm going to grind all these beautiful swirls into my microfine finish. Okay? But with the Norton system, that's not an issue because it's 1 compound, 3 pads. Now, I wash the car. I get the number 1 pad, I use the Norton compound, I do my buffing. I put the number 1 pad down, I grab the number 2 pad, I use that Norton compound, and I go back at it and I buff it again. Give it a quick wipe. Grab my number 3 pad, use this compound, put it on, and I buff the 3rd time. Okay? What have I done? I'm not washing the car every time. Because let's say I'm on the number 3 and I pick up a little of this compound, it's the same compound I used in step 1. 1 compound, 3 pads. That's the beauty of the system. Saves you a lot of work and cost. This bottle here is under $40. you go look at 3M bottles, there's 4 of them out there and they're all $40 a bottle or more. And you need 3 or 4 of them. So it's nothing to spend $120 to $160 on buffing compound there when you're gonna spend 40 on this one and it'll last a good long time, because you're just using a couple little dollars along the way, all right? And now I use the detail spray. Whenever I'm gonna buff, you never start with a dry pad. You always need to moisten your pad a little. I love using this detail spray on my pad. It gives me just a little extra lubrication. Put that on, boom, I'm going, and it's working like crazy. You can just use spray water if you like. Okay. Another thing we're gonna go over real quick today is power sanding before we buff. Okay. You don't have to do this all the time now. The DA sanders are made, this is 1500 grit paper, a little bit of water, we'll just wet sand right with the DA. Okay. It's scary at first, but once you do it, you get real comfortable with it. Okay. So I'm gonna bring me over an air hose so I can play with that in just a second. All right, now, when we sand, we're gonna do water sanding, wet sanding. And to wet sand, I've got a bucket, I put some warm water in, and just 2 drops of dish soap. Why do we use dish soap?
As a lubricant.
That's a lubricant thing. It's a lubricant and it keeps the pad from building up paint. All right, I'll use that in a minute. All right, here's my bucket. Got a little soapy water in there, just a couple of drops. And that soap acts as a lubricant for the paper, and it will keep me from building up big chunks on the paper. You've seen how that happens, right? That's not going to happen if you use that. So. Now when we sand, what do we never do when we sand? Somebody told me. We never sand with our fingers. What happens if we sand with our fingers?
Make sure points.
What, did I grab those? Did you guys give me those samples back?
Right here. No, they're on.
Oh, are you? Okay. There you go. Thank you. All right, yeah. So I'm going to use one just to dramatize it for you. All right, so over here where I'm not going to do anything because there's so many scratches, I'm going to sand this with my hand. This is what we get if we're hand sanding, okay? Okay, so what do we see here? Thick, light, thick, light, thick, light. You can see my fingers in the sanding. That's an ultimate no-no. Because what we're doing now is we're taking this paint thin, untouched, our clear coat's going to become uneven. And if you do that enough, you'll actually have waves in your clear coat. All right, so we don't want to use our bare fingers. What we're going to use is we're going to use a simple sanding block. We're going to take the block, put it in the paper. Now when I sand, I have one big finger. So let me grab this piece. It takes my fingers out of the equation. Put the paper on the block, and this is dry sanding so we get a little more color, you can see it, all right? And I sand, and I get a nice uniform sand. No more striping. We don't want striping. So don't use your fingers. Unless it's that weird little crevice that nothing fits into, you might get a finger in there, you know. I've actually had my granddaughter stick her finger in a little tight spot I couldn't get into, you know. I think that's why I had to. No. All right, so I'm going to grab a piece of 1000 grit right here. I've used these before, but they're still good. Put your paper on it. Now we're going to take a spot here. I'll start working. I don't know what this is. Somebody else did this. I don't know what grit it is, but I'm going to sand right over it. It looks pretty deep. Somebody was hitting that with some pretty heavy paper, but we'll see if we can't get it out of it. What I normally like to do, and I'll do now, is I just take my paper and I throw it in a bucket and I let it soak. And it'll be nice when I go to grab it, it'll be all wet and conditioned, okay? And I need my water bottle. Okay, so what we do is we'll just wet it and I'll start going at it, okay? Now we're gonna wanna go at it one direction. And that's not a music band. That's what we're doing. All right? Why don't we want to go, you know, because those are the scratches I have to get rid of. You know, and if I got swirly scratches, I gotta get rid of those somehow. So we sand one direction, okay? And you'll see I got a little bit of an angle going on here. It's comfortable for me to do it here. Now, what color is coming off?
Clear.
It's kind of that milky I told you about. That milky look means that there's clear coat on this fender. If it was black, that tells me it's single stage or the clear is just completely gone. So we're good. Now I'm gonna guess that this is factory clear. So I'm not gonna get too crazy on it. You know, I don't know how much is there. Somebody sanded this section here, so we'll see. Because we're just gonna take up a piece of this fender. I mean, I could sand this whole thing and we don't wanna do that, so.
So what is that grit, 1,000?
I'm at 1,000, okay? I just felt that this fender didn't need 800, you know, it wasn't that coarse.
How do you know when to move to the next grit?
I'll show you in just one second. We're gonna squeegee this off, and when I get a nice uniform haze over the surface, we'll go to the next grit. So, all right, I've gone back and forth across it a couple of times. Now what I wanna do is I wanna take this off. So I'll grab my other pad and use it like a squeegee. I'll take it off. Now we're looking for a nice uniform surface. All right, so we've got a deep scratch here that we're definitely not going to get out with what we're doing today. All right.
And Vince, as you're doing a whole car, you're only working about a 2-foot area at a time, is that the
Right,
idea?
about a 2x2, so two cubic feet at a time is about the maximum. If you get any more than that, you're extending yourself beyond your visual range, you know. Or you're hopscotching around, you're not getting a nice uniform. Because if you do this section, then you start this section. I'm gonna bring this section into this one, you know, and right as I get to the edge, do a quick blend and then move on to another one. So about a 2x2 is what you wanna work on. Now, if you're doing it with a sander, it's a little bit different story. Okay, so you see how we've got this now? It's a uniform, dull finish going across. I can see all my scratches in here that I put in. My 1,000 grits, I was sanding this way. I can see all my 1,000 grit scratches in there. Standing right here. I don't know if you can see them from where you guys are, but we can see them here. This big scratch, there's nothing we can do with that because that's through the black paint. So we're just going to pretend it doesn't even exist. Now what you could do is you could actually clean that out, do a little touch up, a little clear coat, sand it down, try and make it match the best you can, you know, if you wanted to do that. Because you always do your touch up before you color sand and buff, right? Because then you're going to buff it in, and you can get some really nice looking repairs that way. So I got a nice uniform dull spot on there. I don't see anything shiny. I'm looking for shininess. I'm looking for gloss. There's no gloss. So that tells me I got a good coverage. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to go over it. I'm going to move up to the 1500 grit.
Vince, you mean you would put the touch-up paint in there before you go any further right now?
I would have done the touch-up paint before I started sanding.
Oh.
Yeah, I would have. What you do is clean that scratch out real well. Use like an isopropyl rubbing alcohol. You know, use a Q-tip, get in there, clean it out real well. Sometimes you can even take a little plastic, the edge of a plastic scraper, and get in there. Make sure there's no wax or anything in there. Clean it out, and you can even use a good pre-painting prep spray like that. I always say test it in an inconspicuous area and make sure your paint can sustain it, because sometimes they can remove paint if you're not careful. And then you get in there and you brush touch it. Okay. Put your black in first, let it dry. You only need one coat of black in there. And then you go over it with a couple of coats of clear. You want the clear to build up higher than the surface, right? Then you start your sanding procedure. And now,
Scratches like this, you would start by painting first.
this needs a complete paint job. You
But I mean, a scratch
wouldn't touch
that deep.
those up, yeah. You'd be there forever trying to touch all this up. This I would just repaint the fender, you know. But I mean, just so if you got a scratch like this, you can spend time touching that up, you know. And when I'm sanding, I'm going to focus on that area just a little bit to make sure it's going down, you know. And once I get it level and I can see that my scratches are uniform across it, Like I said, it's not gonna be 100%, but you can sure work that up to a 98% and make it look really good, you know? So, but you have to put the clear coat over that black. Remember, that black's gonna dry real thin, and that's gonna be the base. And then you're gonna put the clear, and you're gonna build up the clear. You don't wanna build up the black necessarily. One coat of black and then build it up with clear. And that clear will add the same depth as the clear next to it. That's where the trick comes in. If you build up all 5 layers of black paint right to the top and buff it, you're gonna have clear coat, black paint, clear coat. It's gonna look weird. Put 1 coat of clear, 4 coats of, 1 coat of black, 4 coats of clear, and then it's gonna be clear coat, clear coat, clear coat, and then give you the best look. All right. So we did the 1,000 grit. I'm gonna jump up now to 1,500 grit. What I'm doing is I'm taking those peaks down. I just knocked it down, so all my big points, I just took the tops off them all. But what I left was 1,000 grit scratches. So now I'm gonna go over it with 1,500, and I'm gonna knock a lot of those scratches down. So our scratches are gonna get finer. Each time we do it, they're gonna get finer and finer and finer.
Is that pad you're using kind of foam-like, does it
Yes, it
contour
is.
to the?
Oh, wait, you know what? I was actually using this pad a second ago. I'll pass this around. Go ahead and send this back to him so you can see it. Now, the one thing to watch when you're swapping pads, okay, I'm switching paper on this pad. Wipe that pad off. Make sure I don't have any 1,500 grit on it. It's really easy to swap real fast. And then I take 1,500 grit and I put it on here from the paper. And I'm no longer, 1,000 grit. And when I hit it with my 15, I've got 1,000 grit on here. It's just gonna do the same thing I'm trying to eliminate. So, but yeah, you can see this is a soft rubber pad. These come in different thicknesses. They come in different hardnesses. We carry them all over here in the first aisle. And you can pick out the one you like. We've got them there, blue and black, or red and black, and it depends on the thickness and the hardness. These are nice. The red ones are nice. They're soft. They can do curves. I can take this and I can squeeze that and put a curve in it. See, and the paper sticks to it, and I can do in here. I can do right inside here if I wanted, because I can curve my block just by squeezing it, just like that. And I can do inside here. I'm not necessarily going to go in there because we're doing something else, but I can do that with this block. Now, if you use the blue block, blue and black, it's a little thicker. It doesn't bend as easy to take the curve. This is a nice flexible one right here. So, all right, so let's get this one done. Okay.
You're kind of going the opposite direction.
Thank you. I was hoping you would catch that. I was hoping you would catch that. So, all right. So what I'm doing is I put all those scratches in this way. All right. And if I keep going that way, I'll always have those fine scratches. So now I'm going back over them the opposite way. All right. And now when I come back with 2,000, I'll go the other way. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of crisscrossing, knocking down those peaks faster. Okay? I'm glad you picked that out. I was hoping somebody would see that.
I did too, but I thought it was, what's it doing?
And I'm definitely not using my fingers, which is the most important thing. Right? No fingers. And we're still white, which is a good thing, right? See that white coming off?
And that's just regular water you spraying, right?
This is just water. This is just water right here.
With the soap, soap?
The soap was in there. Just got a tiny little bit of soap in it, yeah. And that's okay if you put a drop of soap in here, because I have no buildup. Look at my paper. There's no buildup whatsoever. You should have no buildup on your paper. If you're getting buildup on your paper, you're marring the surface.
With
So
all these,
oh, go ahead.
with all these steps, are you really bearing down, or are you using a light touch?
Light touch.
Light touch, okay.
Yeah, because if I really bear down, I'm gonna kiss my clear coat goodbye real fast. We need to preserve the clear coat. That's our protection. That's our UV protector. That protects us from oxidation. It protects us from acid rain. If we take that clear coat off, we get a lot of problems. So I'm just lightly sanding, and what I'm doing now is I'm putting 1,500 grit scratches in. So all my 1,000 grit scratches should be gone now, and they should be 1,500 grit scratches. So I'm gonna call that good right there. We're gonna do a little squeegee work there. Take this and see.
Is that the same type of pad that you're sanding with, using as a squeegee?
Well, you can really use any kind of a squeegee. I'm just using the same pad. It works really well for what I want. It's not gonna scratch it.
Yeah.
Just make sure you got something that's not gonna scratch, you know. And I'm just doing that so that I can see, and what I'm looking at, when I pull that across, these lights are hitting there. I'm looking to see for any glossy, shiny spots that I might have missed, all right? So we had all the gloss gone before, so what I'm looking at now is I wanna make sure that my sanding pattern is all this way. That tells me I took all the 1000 grit out. Okay? Sometimes you gotta give it a second to dry before you can see it. Okay, all my sanding is really nice and smooth this way. All right, you see all the angle going that way now? That's telling me I took out that 1000 grit going that way. I got it all knocked down. Go ahead and feel that. Just feel that I hadn't done, you know. There's a difference. This is already like getting glass smooth. Okay? We're gonna move up to 2000 grit. All right, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean my pad off. We'll get the 2000 grit paper. And that's why I like to throw them in a bucket, because they come up wet and conditioned already, you know. You're ready to go. Now, make sure between papers, wipe it off real good. I don't want to leave any 1000 or 1500 grit on here. Okay, so change towels often if you have to. I've used that a few times now. I'll go to this one, because that's got 1500 and 1000 grit in it, okay? So she looks good. She's wiped off. It's dry. Looks pretty good. Now you notice I'm going the opposite direction again. Just very simple, a little crisscross pattern. This is 2000. Now you notice you're not getting as much clear off, are we? A little tiny bit, because this is removing less material now. I don't want to keep removing material. I got it nice and smooth. I just want to get rid of these scratches.
When you're doing that, you feel it.
Oh yeah.
You feel it. You just feel it.
You'll
It gives
feel it.
up. It gives up. It
I
gives up.
agree exactly what he's saying. Feel is one of the most important things, especially in body work. When you're doing dents, when you're doing anything, when you're sanding, you just feel it. And you can see I'm not pushing, you know. It's just gently gliding across. My other scratches went this way. Now I'm going this way to knock them down. And it's getting finer and finer and finer. I can feel less resistance in the paper as I go.
You've used that grit up when you no longer feel it.
Sure. Yeah. And it starts to quiet down. You know, it'll make a little noise at first, and then when it gets quiet, this feels like I'm already done with this grit, so. Okay. I would say 2000, I'm done. Oh yeah, now I'm starting to see some shine, okay? I can see the reflection of that light over there. Now, it's going from dull to getting a little bit of a shine. And when I talk about a little bit of a shine, I don't mean the gloss, the high gloss we're looking for. I mean a little bit of a shine to it. All right, let's get all that 2000 off. We're gonna finish up with 2500, and then we're gonna go to the machine. But before I do that, I'm going to give you a quick demo on the dual action with the paper. Okay, I think we're good here. Let that dry a sec. All right. All right, we'll finish this up. We'll go 2500. Can anybody kind of see the reflection starting to show there?
Got a lot less haze now.
Right, we've gone from having that real heavy haze to starting to actually put a polish on it.
Yeah, I was surprised you'd get that much out of the 25, or the 2.
That was 2, yeah, no, I'm gonna do 25. And we'll get a little bit shinier. Okay. trick to this is to remember which direction to go. Which one, what was your last direction? You can always stop and look at those real fine scratches, see which way they're going. So we've gone over this. This will be the 4th time. I'm done. We're gonna hit this with a machine in just a sec. This is just gliding.
It really sounds like it. It feels like.
And you don't see that heavy white milky stuff coming off anymore. Because we're barely moving anything. I'm just working, we took the heavy stuff off. That was the first time. That's why I pointed it out to you. Now what we're doing is we're just taking it down so much lighter.
You ever skip a grit,
Yes, you can.
go from 2 to 3,
Well,
25?
you can, yeah. I could have gone 1,000, 2,000, 2,500 if I wanted. But it gives you just such a smoother progression when you follow. You know, they just take it down. But you can skip, all right? But you'll be working your 2,000 a little bit more, right? So if let's say I put 1,000 grit in and I skip 1,500, my 2,000 is going to have to work a little bit harder, you know? And then you got to make sure you're getting them all out, you know? But so it's always nice to follow a progression. When you're starting with like 800, you really got to make sure you go 800 to 1,000. Because you don't want to go 800 to 1,500, because 1,500 take forever to get that 800 scratch out. You'll really be sanding like crazy, you know. I'm kind of taking my time, moving along rather lazily in a way, but I just want you guys to see what's going on here. Now, normally I do this with a machine now, but this is a hand sanding demonstration, so. Okay, there you go. Now we're up at 2,500. Give me a nice clean rag. Now I can see reflections. I can see you in here. You know, it's not as shiny as that right now, but I can see reflections in this. And that's a good thing. So that tells me we're getting ready to hit it with a buffer.
The really nice part about it is the centerpiece where you started sanding at first. Someone else did is blend in too.
Right.
Feels good.
Yeah, it does. And our scratch is almost
I
gone.
was looking
Just about got that scratch out of there. I'm not going to go after it because I have to go too deep, but right there now, as I'm looking across, if you stand here and take a look at that fender, you'll see reflections in that fender, which means it's ready to take a machine now. Let's talk about dry sanding or wet sanding. Go either way. This is another type of sanding that we can do, okay? You want to keep it moving at all times. Okay, we can tell that's clear coat because it's white powder. If that was single stage, it would have been black powder coming off there, okay? So, let me grab a rag. What grit was in? 1,500, okay? You don't want to use the coarse grits to do that. What I'm doing is I'm trying to prep it for polishing, all right? See that? That did not get sanded well, so I got to go back at it. You give it a wipe, go back in there and hit it, okay? So you take this and you just go right back. I didn't